Hey everyone, my name is Lon Stroschein, founder of the Normal 40. Welcome to another episode of Normal 40 TV. Hey, look, I've got a great guest today. His name is Donnie Boivin. Donnie spent about 25 years in sales, made millions and millions and millions of dollars for other people. And then he decided, hey, maybe it's time to take a chance on myself. And in 2018, he did exactly that. Donnie joins us, tells us all about his journey, the good and the bad, the hard and the easy, and he leaves you with some nuggets of things that you should consider if you're thinking about striking out on your own. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you along the highway. Cheers, my man. Dude, nailed it.
Cool.
All right, big
Gotcha.
boss man, take
So,
off.
and seriously, Lon, I'm honored to do this, man. I love hanging out with people that are trying to get after it in life. So, yeah. So, for those who don't know me, Donnie Boivin, I'm the CEO and founder of the Success Champion family of companies. But I didn't get that way through the easy normal route. I didn't grow up as an entrepreneur. I didn't have the fucking lemonade stands. I didn't, do Boy Scouts and all that crazy stuff. I actually didn't know you could be an entrepreneur until I was 40. All right, just for perspective. But I grew up in a very blue collar family. Dad was a truck driver. Mom worked in factories. Mom worked for Lee Blue Jean Company. And dad, he retired from Xerox as a technician, working on copiers, and mom retired as receptionist for an eye doctor. But we grew up in a really small town from age 6 to 11 in Kansas. And I grew up on a 500-acre farm. It wasn't our farm. We were basically hired hands. We rented the house and took care of the pastures, the horses, and the likes out there. So I was throwing hay bales at the age of 9 years old. But I was also the youngest, mama's boy, so I didn't have it near as hard as my brothers did. At the age of 11, darn hard on our luck, my oldest brother actually told mom and dad that it was time for a change. And he foregoed his senior year to help the family move to Texas, where we had other family living. And he finished out a senior year in Texas, but he foregoed all of his income to make sure we could do that. So if it wasn't for my brother helping mom and dad financially, we wouldn't have been able to move out to Texas. But then I moved to Texas. And now I want you to picture this: youngest of three boys, hand-me-down clothes, wire rim glasses, country kid. My closest neighbor in Kansas was over a mile away. And now I'm in the suburbs of Texas, right, where my classroom has 30, 40 kids in it. My entire grade had 40 kids in it when I was in Kansas. So I obviously quickly didn't fit in, and no friends, didn't know anything else. So I got a chip on my shoulder really, really quick. School made no damn sense to me. And so I struggled tremendously in school and became a shithead through most of that. By the time I got to high school, most of my teachers were passing me on because they literally told me they were going to pass me because they don't want me back the next year. At the age of 18, I graduated high school. I did co-op, if anybody's ever heard of that. So co-op in high school is where you work you go to school for like 2 classes and then you go to work the rest of the time. But right out of high school, went to the Marine Corps. Did 4 years in the Marine Corps, was a motor team mechanic, which just means I'm a government trained mechanic, which means I don't know shit about turning wrenches on vehicles. And got out of there with an honorable discharge in 1999. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was one of the lucky guys. I was in during the Clinton era, so didn't really see shit, but it was the don't ask, don't tell generation. So it was just a lot of inspections and whatnot. But when I got out, my best friend and his dad had a heating and air conditioning company. So I went straight to work for them, but I didn't know shit about heating and air conditioning. So I was a grunt. So I was the kid that was climbing up in attics and underneath houses in Texas, 110-degree freaking weather. And it was miserable. I lasted a couple weeks doing that and was going to quit. And the day I tried to quit, Jerry, who's the owner of the company, my best friend's dad, saw me walking up the lawn and he's like, dude, that's an I'm going to quit face. And I'm like, you damn right, I ain't doing this shit. And he goes, before you quit, you try something for me. I said, Jerry, I'm done. I can't do this. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but it's not this. He goes, just trust me, try me. He goes, tomorrow, put on a pair of blue jeans, wear a polo, and I'm going to take you to a neighborhood and I'm just going to drop you off. And what I want you to do is I want you to go knock on doors. And if you can get somebody to invite me into their home and then they look at their system and we actually fix or do something, I'll pay you a commission for any job we do inside of a house. And I'm like, I'm in. He goes, wait, you got to understand, I'm not paying you anything unless we sell something. I don't care. I don't want to climb in attics. I don't want to climb under houses. I'll figure this shit out. And so that's how I started. And what Jerry would do is he'd put a cooler of water in a neighborhood. He'd drop me off in an area and then he'd take the fuck off. And I would just go knock on doors. And that first week sucked because not a single person would fricking talk to me at all. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Well, the second week or so, Jerry forgot to bring my cooler of water. And his words were, well, suck it up, dude. I forgot your water and just figure it out. Borrow water off of somebody's house. It's like, so now I'm 110 degrees in a polo and fucking blue jeans, going door to door, trying to figure out how to get. And at this point, nobody's let me in their house. So, but gets about noon. It's hot as hell. And I knock on the door. Lady answers her door and she goes to slam. And I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I said, but I have no water. I said, I have no vehicle to go get water. Can I just get a glass of water? She goes, oh my God, honey, come in. You know, I get the old Texas Southern bless your heart, right? She comes in, sits down at her table, and she goes, have a glass of water, cool off. But since you're in my house, you might as well tell me what the hell you're doing. And I said, honestly, I have no idea. She goes, what do you mean you have no idea? I said, and I tell her the story. I'm like, Jerry drops me off in her neighborhood, and I go knock on freaking doors in hopes that somebody will let me invite Jerry into the house to look at their heating and air conditioning system. And then if we do some job, then he'll pay me money. She goes, oh, we'll call Jerry up. I'm like, what? She's like, call him up. So I called Jerry and I'm like, dude, you're not going to believe this shit. He goes, what? I'm like, she wants you to come to the house. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So Jerry drives to the house and he's flabbergasted. I'm blown away. We ended up doing like a little tiny maintenance job. It was like $100 job, you know, and I think I made like $5 on the deal, right? But for the rest of that summer, I promise you, I had to pee a lot because every house I walked up to, I'm like, I forgot my cooler. Can I just get a glass of water? They just kept inviting me in the house. So I did that for a number of years. We grew that company from 300,000 to a $3 million company. Then I ended up working for a Fortune 500 Cardinal Health. I got recruited up there to work part of their franchise sales team. Grew that company from 80 to $100 million. Got corporate downsized through a massive buyout. And right around 24, 25 is when I found myself bartending. And that's where I met my wife along the way. So that'll get you to about 25, Lon. Is that good?
Yeah, it's really good. You know, I like to kind of chunk people into three different stages of life. And the first is the inheritance phase. And you talked about that. You talked about being a poor farm kid, although you didn't own the farm, you just lived on the farm. You took care of the farm for the right to live there. And you talked about being the youngest of several. I don't know if you're the youngest of 2 or 10,
3.
but the youngest of 3. And that you inherited the need to just figure it out. There wasn't a platter there for you. There wasn't a college tuition there for you, and you just inherited that. That isn't anything you had to, that you deserved or anything you achieved to have. It's just what you inherited. And I think that's such a critical, as we all think about where we're at in life. We all came into where we are with our inheritance. Some of it's really good, and you can drop to your knees and give it your thanks. And for others, it's shit. It was hard. It sucked. It didn't do anything for them. It made them who they are, but it didn't do them any favors. It didn't give them any head start. And that is so, we kind of forget that at some point in our life, but it's our inheritance. Oh, and by the way, when you get to be this age, you're building an inheritance for the next generation. And that's such an important part. So I love to hear what you inherited. I didn't prep you with that. I just wanted to get you there. The second phase is endowment. Now it's your series of decisions that you make that build Donnie. These are the, hey, when I ask for a glass of water, that works, man. There's something to that. I'm going to use that. And these are the decisions you make that build you. I'd love to hear about the next 20 years now, and kind of as you go through there. And I'd ask you to stop short of what you told me when we talked, the phrase someone told you that made you
For
think,
sure.
all right, hold on. I want you to stop there. And I just kind of want to
Yep.
hear okay, this is the
Yep.
professional story. This is where most of the people on this call are going to be.
So yeah, no, that's perfect. And that's a great place to stop the conversation. So, bartending, I met my wife there, and bartending is probably the greatest proving ground in the world to learn sales because you get to deal with people at their best and their worst all in the same night. So it's a great proving ground. So I did that for a couple of years. But as I met my wife, I realized it was time to grow up. So I quit most of the day nighttime bartending gigs in which I was making $2 to $5 grand a night bartending, just to give you an idea, and didn't even understand that at that age that I was making well over $100,000 in freaking tips, just because the type of bars that I worked in. And I knew I had to go get a big boy job, is what I kept telling myself. I had to go get a real career again. So I started working daytime shifts, and some of my regulars, I thought that if I got around some business people, I'd have a better shot at getting back in corporate America. And so picking up some day bartending gigs, there was a couple of regulars that came into my bar. Jane Miranda was the most memorable one of the bunch, but Jane had gone to this huge printing conference, and one of the keynote speakers of this big commercial printing conference said her best salesperson, or his best salesperson that he had ever hired, was the waiter at his restaurant. And if Jane was here, she'd tell you as soon as she heard that, she was coming gunning for me. So, because she'd heard my story and what I'd done and my sales background and the like. So she came back and she offered me a job to come sell commercial printing. And I remember the interview. I was going in. I'm like, I'm not taking less than $40,000 a year. Damn it! That's going to be the life that I have. That's going to be my base. That's going to be my floor. Or 36,000. That's what I was going in. It's like $36,000. That's my base. I can't do less than that. Now, mind you, I already told you I made over $100,000 in tips. I didn't understand it. Money was not a thing that I was raised to understand or respect. Right.
A
So
shrewd negotiator there.
so I freaking go to this interview, and I remember I get to the end, and I don't know how to do a freaking interview. I'd never done an interview in my life. And, at the end, she goes, Donnie, I'm sorry, I can only pay you $40,000 a year. Now, remember, my number was 36,000. I'm like, holy shit, she's going to pay me 40 in my head. So I know I'm supposed to negotiate, but I'm so flabbergasted that she's going to offer me $40,000 as a draw. And if you don't know what a draw is, it means I get a base kind of pay, but if I don't hit commissions, I lose that base pay, right? And I owe that money back. And so I didn't negotiate. I just said, absolutely, I'm in, whatever you need. And then I remember I called my mom and I'm like, hey, mom, I just got a job and I make more money than you. And she goes, you fucking little prick, in laughing manner, right? Because now I'm making more money than mom. And I remember I called my uncle, who was the most successful gentleman I knew at that point. He was number 3 in Bank of America, did most of the mergers and acquisitions from NCMB and all those. And when I called him and said, hey, I just got back into corporate America, I got basically a straight commission sales job. And his words to me were, cool, call me when you get a real job, right? Because he was success. I was blue collar country kid. So I go to work for this company and spend the next 7 years building a $6.1 million book of business from zero. Didn't know shit about commercial printing, didn't know anything about the industry, but that's where I really learned to cut my teeth on networking, how to actually do sales and build business. Some of my biggest accounts were like Mary Kay Corporate, Home Depot, Motorola, Nokia, and the like. So, it was a cool experience, but then the 08, 09 years, of course, hits, and it was time to transition to find something new. My wife and I at that point had agreed that it was time to find the next adventure. And I didn't really know what that adventure was going to be. But right at that time, Sandler Training came calling. And some of you may know who Sandler Training is, but it's one of the largest sales training organizations in the world. And it's a franchise setup, and the franchisor locally to me called me up and said, hey, I've heard your name mentioned around Fort Worth and the likes. I'd like you to come work for me. I said, dude, I don't have no desire to be a sales trainer. He goes, well, that's fine. I don't need a sales trainer. I just need a sales guy. I'm like, cool. What am I selling? He goes, you're going to sell sales training. I'm like, wait, how do you sell sales training? That doesn't make any sense to me. He goes, I teach people how to sell. You're going to go convince companies that I'm the guy to teach them how to sell. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll figure that out. And so I go work for Sandler Training. Over a short period of time, I grow his business so fast and so rapidly. At 2 years in, he goes, Donnie, you can't make any more money. And I said, why can't I make any more money? He goes, because I have no capacity left to train. I said, well, if I can't make any more money, then why am I still here? He goes, well, there's options. I said, what are my options? He goes, you're going to have to start training sales. I said, I did told you I didn't want to be a sales trainer. He goes, well, you want to make more money? You learn to train sales. So I became a sales trainer. And that's not something I really wanted to do. But so, which made it even tougher because I'm straight commission at this point and I can't train if I don't sell. And now all the things I sold in the past, he was training. I'm still getting paid commissions on those, but now I had to go do all my own stuff. Right. And so most of that business transitioned over to him. And now I had to go build out my own book of business. Well, I worked my way up to partner inside of his franchise because I continued to build the biggest business so strong. And it's important to note, I think, at this point of my journey, I had never chose a career. Everything I did at this point was because it was offered to me. I went to the Marine Corps because my oldest brother went to the Marine Corps, and it was just the next move. I worked for the HVAC company because my best friend and his dad had a company. I went to St. Louis to work for Cardinal Health because they recruited me and offered me the job. I went to commercial printing because they hired me out from behind the bar. I went to Sandler Training because they came gunning for me. Never once on my journey did I go, hey, what the hell do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to learn? I just continually kept taking the things in front of me. So I worked my way all the way up to partner of the Sandler franchise. And I was going to buy out this franchise, and Sandler Training was going to be my end game retirement plan. And I really thought that's where I was going to finish the rest of my career. And I'll kick it back to you, Lon.
So, I mean, this is gold, man. I mean, I think so many of us can go back and think of where we are in our journey. And and like I said, if you're here because you're curious about something, and that something is you're doing something that is good and fine and paying the bills, but is this it? That's kind of the root of the question that as people come into my life, it's like, well, is this it? I mean, it's not bad. Sometimes it is, but usually it's this isn't bad, but is this it? And we get there and we get to that point because we just took what was next. We chased what was next. You talk about following your brother in the Marine Corps. You talked about somebody recruiting you out of a bar and putting you into a position where you could be successful. And you were. And that led you down a path, one that you went down because somebody asked you to do it. And in every time they asked you to do it, they were doing, yeah, sure, they were looking out for you, but they were also looking out for themselves along the way. And I remember when we talked there again, this is only the second time Donnie and I have talked. And then after we talked, he published his book and I bought it. And then I saw what he told me in his book. And it makes perfect sense. And I'm going to kick it back to you now, Donnie. And I want to say one more thing quick, kind of off this. I owe everyone on here an apology because here's what's going to happen. I scheduled this Zoom on my wrong Zoom account. So in about 40 minutes after, it's going to boot us off instead of my business account. So when it does, log back in. And I'm sorry, it's just how it's going to work. We're going to go until we drop. We're going to need more than the 40 minutes, then just log back in. So my apologies for that. Donnie, back to you.
All good, brother. So Sandler Training was going to be my retirement plan, right? That was going to be the thing. I was making great money. I had bought my dream farm and got back to the farming life. My wife had never been a farmer, and she wanted land and all that. So we actually found a farm with an old Victorian house on it, which is what we want. I built a second house for my mother-in-law on the farm so I could take care of her in the long time. So this portion of my story is tough. So, all right. So, me and my business partner, I'll get it all together in a second. Me and my business partner, we are going out to dinner and we're celebrating all the successes, all the things we built. And we were getting ready to talk about the succession plan, me buying him out and taking over his business. It was going to be a multi-million-dollar deal over a 5-6 year buyout. And he was going to work until I'd fully transitioned everything over to me. And so we go out to dinner. And during this dinner, he says a phrase to me that forever changed my life. And what he says to me was, Donnie, thank God you're my retirement plan. Now, truthfully, he says it out of love. I loved working for the guy. Truly, truly did. And I replied instantly, it's been my honor. After that dinner, I sat in my truck and I looked in the rearview mirror and I said, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're literally somebody else's fucking retirement plan. I looked over my entire life and I'd always been somebody else's fucking retirement plan. I looked at all the millions of dollars I sold. And then I looked at what they kept and what I kept. It was a massive fucking difference. And then I gave myself an ultimatum. And I said, dude, you either get okay with this life you're currently living, and you come to terms that this is good as it gets, and you be okay with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or you get in the game and you finally fucking bet on yourself. 15 days later, I walked away from it all. Within 24 hours, 2 attorneys show up at my farm and serve me my international non-compete papers. Only thing I know in life at this point is sales. Only thing I know. And now I'm being told I can't talk about sales, business development, sales training, sales management, nothing. So I call my attorney up and I said, let's fight it. I'm in Texas, non-competes won't hold. And they're like, you're right. We can fight the shit out of this. And they're like, how much money are you willing to lose to win this battle? I'm like, guys, sales is all I know. If I can't talk sales, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Found out it was going to cost me about $500,000 to battle and beat them. And it wasn't my business partner. It was Sandler Corporate that was coming after me. So I made the choice to come out as a success coach. And I promise you to this day, I have no fucking clue what a success coach is. But it's obviously some sort of damn business whore that just says yes to any sort of fucking work that comes my way. I was doing video editing, graphic editing, half-ass coaching, throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars at this business, trying to figure out how to make this business work. Well, 6 months of doing this, I stood on the back porch of my farm, looked at my wife, and said, babe, we're about to lose everything. My mortgage was 3 months behind. Her Jeep got repossessed. I wasn't holding up my end of the bargain. She had to go in Monday morning, cash in her fucking 401k to save the farm. Okay? She only said one phrase to me: get off your ass and go sell something. And what I realized growing up is in my entire journey, I never saw the fucking CEOs of the companies I worked for. The only time I saw the fucking CEOs is when I brought in a multi-million-dollar account or we were losing a multi-million-dollar company. I had no fucking clue how to be a business owner. And I was proving it. How much further you want me to go, Lon? Because you want me to go to where I am now?
No, I want to just interject a couple of things. So Donnie, thanks for sharing this, man.
Yeah. I love sharing the story. It's tough, but I love sharing.
It's really cool. So you tell the story in your book, and it's a short book. It's 80 pages. You can read. He actually quotes the conversation that he was told that he had with his wife. I'm not going to read that, but you say something right after that. For me, it's the best lines in the book, and they're going to be random because you talk about building your business and how hard it is, and the knife fight and the clawing and all those things, and you say, um, nobody tells you that along the way to building your business, you're going to meet yourself. You'll take a hard look in the mirror and you'll know if you gave it your all. Well, to me, dog, that's that's the normal 40. I mean, we're all looking ourselves in the mirror. We're staring at each other on this screen. We go to work on Monday morning and leave Friday, and we've got that pit in our gut on Sunday night. That's the that is the decision to go chase, do, change. And by the way, it does not necessarily mean to leave the job you're in. It means do what Donnie did. Decide what it is you want. And as easy as that is to say, it sounds like a throwaway phrase. What do you want? But every time I ask a dude, when I have a call like this and I'm on a call with a dude and we have this wonderful conversation, they tell me about growing up and their inheritance and all of those things. And I say, all right, man, what do you want? Blank stare. And I know that because I did the same thing with my coach when they did me the same thing to me. It's like, all right, you got all these things. What do you want? Shit, I don't know. I've never stopped to think about that. The point is, you might want to continue to keep doing exactly what you're doing, but be intentional about it. When you get to this stage in your life, you've got options if you decide to take them, but you got to decide to take them and be intentional about it because you don't want to get to 60, 70, 80 years old and say, son of a bitch, I thought about this when I was 41 or 31 or 48 or 58, and I didn't do it. That is shit you regret. And the whole point of normal 40 is don't be that guy. Be Donnie. Take the risk, take the fight. So, dude, in this whole book, those were my favorite lines. Along the way, you're going to meet yourself, and that matters. Maybe it's time for y'all to meet yourselves. It's quite the introduction.
And I want to speak to that in particularly and how building a business did it for me. As an employee, excuses were fucking easy, right? I could blame everybody else. My sales were down, marketing sucked. My sales were down, the economy sucked. My sales were down, too much competition, right? It was so easy. And they were justifiable excuses. They sounded fucking real in my head. But when you own a business, there's nobody left to blame. Right?
Yeah, like when you hose up your Zoom call, you just put it on your personal account, and then you get all these people showing up and ask them they're going to get kicked. Yeah, there's nobody to blame.
Yeah, they're going to get kicked out in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah. So Get ready to do the leap, guys.
There is nobody to blame on this call except this cat. And I love this conversation's so good. Now it's going to end in 7 minutes.
But I promise you guys, if you come back for this, the second half of this, I will completely unleash and give you guys some fucking solid gems. And I got a ton of giveaways and gifts for you too. Okay. That won't cost you a fucking dime.
All right. Well, I'm glad you can see the little countdown. We really have 7 minutes till we get booted. Then we'll be back in.
Yep. So here's the thing that really solidified my journey for me is when I got to that dark moment with my wife, and God love her, she stood by me through all the shit. I'm going to write my next book is going to be the shit my wife said that actually saved my life. But freaking, when I got to that dark moment and everything was bleak, I remember the day I went in and I was shaving, getting ready for the day. And I looked up and I couldn't look myself in the mirror because I instantly knew that if I did, I would not like the motherfucker looking back at me because I had never lived life on my fucking terms. And now I was trying and I was failing miserably. And I forced myself to look up and to really meet myself in the eyes. And I realized I did not love the dude looking back at me. And that was a tough fucking moment because I had to start exploring Why not? That journey of self-discovery is probably the most important pivotal moment of everything I've done. Because the moment you can look up into a mirror, meet yourself fucking eye to eye, and go, that's a good fucking dude. I fucking love that guy. I'm proud of that guy. Is the most transformational experience in the world. Why? Because the fucking mirror never lies. It knows every secret. It knows every doubt. It knows everything you've tried to fucking screw around on, everything you tried to game, shortcut. It knows every freaking thing. And if you can't look at that mirror and go, I'm proud of you, that's where you need to get to work on the most. Why not? What aren't you proud of? You discover that out and you get to work on that thing. Holy shit, it's monumental. Now, for me, it took fucking damn near almost losing everything I got. I don't think it takes that for everybody. But I will tell you, the older you get, the more it takes that to make it happen. Because we all build this life that's fucking just comfortable. We build this life that's just fucking good enough. We build this life that we're okay with where we're at. But if we're honest with ourselves, most of us know we were put here for a hell of a lot more. We just haven't bet on ourselves. So
One of the
go ahead.
Well, it's a point I want to make here. I've got a group. Most of the people here in the group, Normal 40 Men in Midlife, and most of them have answered. I sent out a series of questions that I started somewhat later in the process. But one of the questions is, are the best years of your life? The 5 questions. One is, do you intend to still be who you're working where you're at, who you're working for in 5 years? And by and large, the answer is no. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being no way, 5 being for sure. And another question is, are the best years of your life in front of you or behind you? And the answer is off the charts, in front. And then another question is, do you have any idea, 1 to 5, if you know what it is that you want to do in the next 40 years of your life? And the answers are, I really have no idea. So if you just listen to that, I know I don't want to be here. I know I've got more to give somewhere. There's more in me, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to deploy it. And I think it's so healthy to have a group like this. The whole purpose of that group that brought you here, Donnie, the reason you're here is to help that group figure out, take the moment to look the person in the mirror and answer the question, what do you want? And then put together a plan to go get it. And I think what we think about, you talked about being comfortable. I call it autopilot. As a pilot, I know you get up there, you've done all the work, you've done the pre-flight, you're out of sequence, you're flying, you hit some buttons, autopilot. By the way, that's where I always wanted to be. When I was in the hangar waiting to take off, where did I want to be? At cruise on autopilot. Well, then when I get there, it's like, well, shit, this isn't flying. It's sitting. It's doing nothing. And at some point, something wakes up in you. You have that awakening and you realize, I got to figure this out. And that's exactly what Donnie's talking about, was staring the individual in the face. We'd talked for about 35, 40 minutes, and you really did give me some nuggets, man. And I'd imagine that's probably what you're going to, where we're going to roll to pretty quick. But that it took you maybe 4 seconds to say, yes, let's hop on a call. Oh, yeah. When I said, hey, I do this thing called office hours. You're like, yeah, dog, I'm in on that. So that's just kind of the kind of dude you are, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Well, just to kind of give you an idea of where I am now, guys, and where this journey is taking me. I found podcasting in May of 2018, and podcasting in some regards what saved my business. Because up to that point, I had no idea how to be a business owner. I had no idea how to do this thing called running a business. But my podcast took off really fast because I was interviewing people to try and hear their stories. And I was starting to get some of the biggest names in the world on my show. And I quickly realized I couldn't have a shit show of a process by interviewing these really cool people. So podcasting is where I really learned how to do operations and hiring and build systems and the likes. And within 5 months of launching my first podcast, and everybody always asks what's the name of the show. It's called Success Champions. I haven't produced anything on it in 10 months. But it still gets 25 to 30,000 downloads a month on it. But and within 5 months, that podcast was number 22 in the world. And so it was sitting next to the Gary V's, the Tim Ferrisses, the Tony Robbins, and the likes. So September of 2018, my non-compete comes up. And now I've got all this momentum of fucking podcasting behind me. And now I can talk sales. And it's kind of like I'll hold my beer and watch this moment. Because flash forward to where we are now, and I operate 3 companies. I've still 2 of the top podcasts in the world, 5 best-selling books, and a partridge in a pear tree. But if you want to go listen to a badass podcast that's just a lot of fun to produce, go listen to Growth Mode. It's a top 200 podcast in, I think, 17 countries right now, and continues to grow. And I love sharing my story because there's a lot of people on their fucking journeys that, they're have lived life in almost a zombie-like autopilot state. I like that. We'll go with that. Almost like they've been a fucking zombie. And they're constantly, and look, my goal in life is not to be a motivational speaker, not to inspire you to do something better. My goal in life is to share my story, and fucking something resonates with you, use it. Don't sit in a moment like this when somebody's fucking pouring their damn soul and heart out for you and not fucking do something with it. We only get one shot in this fucking rock. And, it's your choice. But I'll give you the same fucking choice that I gave me. Either get good with the life you're living and stop daydreaming, because that daydreaming is eating your fucking soul. You're wishing for this fucking life to be amazing. You're wishing for everything to be fucking awesome. You're wishing for all this cool shit. But if you're not going to get in the game and put in the fucking work and do the things it's actually going to take to get you there, then turn off the noise, because you're going to make yourself fucking miserable. But if you're going to try and get in the game, then the you that is you right now got you here. That same person isn't going to be the person that fucking allows you to chase your damn dreams. You're going to have to go choose the hard shit. You're going to have to go get punched in the fucking face and then get up and go another fucking round. Because I can promise you, there is no shortcut. There is no trick, no hack, no 10 steps that's going to allow you to figure out who the fuck you need to become to get where you want to go. But you got to evolve, which means you have got to force yourself to do the shit that scares the absolutely pure piss out of you. Because I promise you, if chasing your dreams doesn't scare you, it's not the right fucking dream. The second thing I can promise you is in chasing those dreams, all those things that pop up in your fucking head that scare you to do, that's the universe saying, motherfucker, go that direction. There was an old stand-up arcade game called Dragonlance. Anybody remember the old stand-up arcades? I see some old gray hair fuckers in here like me, so we're good, right? Dragonlance was this game where you played a knight, just a center control and like one button on the freaking console, right? And you battled these fucking dragons. And what would happen is a light would flash on the fucking screen. And your job was to slam that fucking controller as hard as you could at that light. And if you got the timing right, your knight stepped out of the way and you could slay this fucking dragon. I sucked at this game. It's horrible at it. But I think it's the best example about actually trying to go for it in life. Because every time you think about chasing your dreams and some sort of fear pops up, some sort of, I can't do it, not good enough, whatever the fuck that thing is, that's the universe saying, hey, fucker, that's the direction you need to go. And that's the moment you got to slam everything you got straight the fuck at that thing. Or otherwise, turn off the daydreaming because you're about to get eaten by a fucking dragon. Back to you, Lon, and we can do Q&A or whatever.
So let's do that. I'd be curious to know if you have a question for Donnie, and if not, I'm just gonna launch into a bunch of them. But if you got a question for Donnie, let's just try the honor system. We'll try to do one at a time. Just come off mute. I'm gonna be quiet in 4 seconds and just ask your question.
And if it gets a bunch of questions, fucking just use the hand raising mechanism. That makes it really, 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 really easy.
Yeah. So in the chat, just put a 1 and I'll call on you that way.
And I promise you, the most ballsy people that ask a question first are the ones who are going to have the biggest impacts in changing their own personal life.
All right.
There it is. See, that works every fucking time. Go ahead, John.
It does. Real quick. So I bought this. I got it yesterday. Dude. I got it yesterday. I've only read the intro, but I appreciate Lon setting this up. Real quick. I took the jump back last August. So
welcome to the shit show.
Yeah, solo. So what would you call it, Lon? Solopreneur.
Solopreneur, boss.
Yeah, solopreneur. So yeah, selling medical device. Anyway, how long did it take you to make in a month what you made at your whatever ID, your peak income, right? Or your previous?
Do you want the real answer to that?
I know what my answer is. I'm curious. I mean, people fail. People take longer. Some
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years to get back to, and I'm close to the most money I've ever made. But the year I closed the Mary Kay account doing commercial printing was my second best year. My best year ever. I closed a deal that was 4,000 salespeople with Sandler training. Wow. Let's just say that year had some zeros with it.
Sure.
Right. That's so awesome. I'm not back to that. But yeah, 2.5 years until I was living the lifestyle that my wife and I could enjoy again.
Got it. Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So John, I'm not that far ahead of you. I cut ties in February, and I can tell you I'm nowhere close. But it's interesting. That isn't my goal.
Right.
When you go in, one of the barriers that you have on, okay, I'm comfortable on autopilot. One of the very first questions I get from people is, well, how did you know it was time? That's an easy one. We've been talking about that for the last hour. But how do you know you have enough? And what they mean is, how do you know you've saved enough and that you'll be okay and that you can make your mortgage? And if you spend too much time wondering if you've got enough, you're going to spend all the time you've got wondering if you've got enough, right? Until you're 70 years old. So I would imagine it'll take me 2.5 years. I'm probably right where Donnie is. I know I won't get it this year. It'd be a miracle if I did it next year. And I'm so cool with that, because what I don't want to do is rush to make money, because then I'm doing things like Donnie did when he first got started, just doing shit I don't really want to do to feel like I'm making enough. And I'm being really intentional on exactly what I want to do, exactly what I want to do, when I want to do it, and exactly who I want to do it with. And that takes time. Donnie did it when he was doing a podcast, and he did it because he was forced to. That all takes time. So I hope I can answer that question in 2.5 years.
And to add to that, John, the biggest thing I can tell you is turn off everybody.
Yep.
Because there's going to be so many people that are like, you need to do this thing, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. Turn off all the noise, because the number one thing that really fucked me in that first year, other than I couldn't talk about sales, was all the people trying to tell me how to build a business. And so it forces you to go in so many different directions, because you're doing all these things because, well, they're obviously successful. No, they're just trying to sell you their shit. Right.
Yeah.
Questions. Okay. But, so I would tell you to go do something and fuck that thing up, then go find the answer to how to do that right. Don't go, how do I do X? Go try it, put the effort, energy into it. And then once you get questions, from trying that thing, then go look for answers. But if you look for answers before you've even tried it, everything you're going to hear is going to be theory because you don't have the practical application to figure out that answer is actually going to work for you.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I would say to piggyback on that is keep your eyes open and your ears open, because what you go into an account to try to sell, they may not need, but you can go find something else that they do need.
For sure.
And I'm not even selling the same things I sold in month 2 that I'm selling now in month 9.
Oh, and by the time you get to year 4 or so,
yeah,
you'll finally figure out what the fuck, or maybe 2 years, you'll finally figure out the fuck your business actually is.
Exactly. So, day one, I walk in, I got surgical instrument companies that I can sell for. So I go into my account, my good account from a previous job. I know we're good on surgical instruments, but do you fix scopes? Well, the answer is yes.
Yes, especially in those first years. Damn right, the answer is yes.
So you go find a guy that can fix a scope and you bring it back repaired. Well, do you fix XYZ? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So when I said early on I was a business whore, that's 100% what I meant. Can you? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yes.
Just to hop on this, and then we've got a few questions in the queue. A couple things. So Donnie has a book. You saw John hold it up. When Donnie launched this, we talked, then he launched it like the next week, and he sent me a text. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy it right now. I go to buy it. It's $3.99. So I buy it and I text Donnie. I'm like, dude, I'd have paid a hell of a lot more for this book. What are you doing charging $4? He's like, I just want people to know what I know, and I want them to have it for as free as I can get it to them. I got to cover my expenses. So dude's legit. It's the best $4 you're going to spend. You'll have it. If you order it today, you'll have it by tomorrow at 5. That's how it worked for me.
And I'll even sweeten that deal. If anybody on this call goes and buys 10 paperback versions, sends me the receipts, you're talking $40. I will send you my personal Calendly link, and I will jump on and give you an hour of my time to help you fix, work on, do whatever you need. Just send me the receipt. Go buy 10 of them, $40. And I will give you my calendar link and, help you work on whatever the fuck you want to work on. It's my favorite thing in the world to do anyways.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Okay. So Amanda Stern, your floor.
Yeah. So I want to know, since you said how did you work on your mindset? What did a normal routine look like for you to get yourself geared up to be successful?
Suicidal, not like I wanted to kill myself, but the pace was insane. So I thought I worked hard as an employee. Build a business and you're going to realize what real work is, right? Because you got to do everything. So for me, I had to mentally get to a place. I start the book off this way of me sitting down with a friend of mine. And I was telling him about my business, and he's like, dude, you don't have a business. You build a shitty job for yourself. And it blew me the fuck away, because what I realized is I didn't know how a CEO thought, right? I didn't know what a CEO did. So that drive home, all I tried to do is figure out, okay, what does a CEO think about? How does a CEO manage their time? How does a CEO work? And these are all questions I didn't know the answer to. So I had to start learning and changing my perspective. And one of the most fascinating evolutions I had to come to is a CEO never thinks in how. They always think in who. Who can do this for me? And one of the most fascinating things I did in my business, I'm sure you can do this in other applications in your life, but I wrote down every task I was doing in my business because I was just overwhelmed. So much shit going on. I wrote down every task down to taking out the freaking trash. And I wrote that all on one side of the sheet of paper. I drew a line to the right of that. So I had basically 2 columns, all the task, blank space over here to the right. Above that column to the right, I wrote this phrase: would Steve Jobs do this task? You want to figure out how to build a business? Do that, because you're going to realize you're doing a lot of stupid shit you should not be doing. And people are like, I'm a solopreneur, but I got to do it. Fuck off. There's so many people out there that are desperate for the knowledge you have in your head that geek out on the shit you need to help with. Go find them and trade them for their fucking services. Like the first person I ever hired was a guy to help me with the fucking podcast. He actually showed up to one of my speeches with a camera. He goes, dude, I love your podcast. I just want to film you speaking. You good with that? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you okay if I edit it and I turn it into something and give it back to you? You can use it on social. I'm like, fuck yes, I am. Right. And then afterwards, he's like, what else can I do for you? I'm like, can you edit podcasts? He's like, I have no fucking idea. He's like, I just want to be around you. I'm like, well, fucking edit my podcast. He goes, okay. I said, do you know how to sell? He goes, fuck no. I said, why don't I teach you to sell? You edit my podcast. He's like, done. Right. There's so many people that want to help you. Start thinking more in who than how. And that was the biggest evolution for me as a business owner.
That's awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Larry Voles, you're up, dog.
Yeah.
You're a
Thanks.
guy I've been waiting to meet a long time, by the way. You and I, we gotta connect one of these days.
We got to connect, no doubt. So anyway, appreciate it, Don. This is amazing. And I'm going to make that connection on here. John Flynn, reach out to me afterwards. Let's talk. Anyway, question I have for you is, I think all the discussion around, not listening to those around you and just taking the leap. Because I think so much of this is around our personal growth and around doing what's right for our families and for our loved ones, right? How do you tell your family, hey, dad's quitting his job today, mom's quitting his job today, and it may not work, and we might go to that little tiny house, and you're going to be sharing rooms with your brothers and sisters, but you got to have faith in me because this is something I got to do. And I've brought this sort of to my family a bit, and I get the look in their eyes like, are you serious, Dad? And so anyway,
I love it. I love it. It's a great question. My final answer, you're not going to like, just be forewarned of that. Okay. So when I decided to leave corporate America and launch my jobs, there was 15 days from when I made the announcement to my business partner that I was out, and then I left. That drive home was the most scariest drive I've ever had. Why? One, I realized I had no income coming in. Right? Even when I was doing non-commissioned sales, it's commission-only sales, there's usually some sort of draw, something coming along with it, right? So you were going to get money, even if you may have to pay it back if you didn't hit your numbers, but whatever. But that wasn't what really scared me. I had to drive home and tell my wife what I just did. This was 15 days after I'd made the announcement. And I walked in that door, and as soon as I walked in, my wife Elizabeth's like, oh, what happened? Right? She knew instantly something was up. And I said, babe, I got to tell you, I walked away. She goes, what does that mean? I said, I walked away from the job. And the story's in the book and you can read it in there. And her words to me were, don't fuck it up. My answer, Lawrence, you're not going to like. But I'll tell it in the story so I don't direct it just in front of you. I had a gentleman sit across me one time. He said, Donnie, I can't go start my own business. I've got 3 kids. I've got a mortgage. I've got vehicles. We've built a lifestyle. I can't do what you did. I won't use his name. So I'll insert Mike. And I said, Mike, don't ever blame your family and the lifestyle you built on your inability to chase your own dreams. That's bullshit. You're using them as an excuse. And he looked at me and he goes, then it's an excuse I'm going to have to live with. And I said, that's good, Matt. You live with that. That's your choice. But I want you to understand that is a choice. And as long as you're good with that choice, fucking gravy. But here's the thing. This is the part you're really not going to like. If you don't make the leap, are you being the guy your kids want to look up to because they had the courage to chase their own fucking dreams? Or do you want to teach them to just put your head down and maintain a lifestyle? Be the guy that says, fuck it, I'm going all in on me. it's going to suck. It's going to be the hardest fucking thing you ever do. You're going to get punched so hard in the face doing this, and you're going to want to throw in the towel at some point, I promise you. But the motherfuckers who find success and find themselves in life are the ones crazy enough to keep going when everybody else would quit. And that's how you build a business. So I'm going to challenge you to listen to your own heart, soul, and thoughts. But motherfucker, get in the game. Don't let the lifestyle you've built prevent you from becoming who you can actually become. And I'll leave it there because I'll keep harping on this.
All right. Well said. Thanks, Donnie.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, Larry, man. All right. Andy, what do you got, Doug?
Question maybe similar along the lines to what Lawrence is asking, but I take for granted that my wife will stick with me because she has. But one of the things I'm finding, and I'm curious about your experiences, you build a professional network, you build a set of friends, people you think are in your corner, they're going to support you. But Ulysses Grant's got a great quote about, the people who are with you in prosperity versus adversity. What was your experience with finding people that once you start to fail a little bit, all of a sudden they're not there for you anymore? I'm just kind of curious what that's like.
It's not that they're not there for you. It was a really weird experience for me. Is they see their lack of going for life just comes to the forefront because they wish they had the balls to do what you're doing. So it's not that they're shunning you, looking down on you, or making fun of you or feeling bad. They just don't have the courage to do it for themselves. So they feel little. They feel small. And I can tell you, one of my closest friends, the day I told him, and me and this guy had been on family trips, done millions of dollars in business together. When I told him, he's like, what? How the fuck are you going to make money? What are you going to do? I could never do that. And I was like, what do you mean? Dude, you're like a beast. You're making more money than I am. He's like, I couldn't do that. And what I instantly realized is I brought his biggest fears to the surface. He wasn't shocked for me to do it. He instantly saw himself in my role and realized that he, pardon the expression, I don't know how else to say it, wasn't man enough to actually do it. So what I ultimately came to realize is almost everybody from my past life had never been an entrepreneur. So nobody fucking understood it. And the best advice I can give you, Andy, is when you make the leap with all your friends, only share the good shit. Because if you share the hard times, if you share the fuck ups, what you're going to hear is, why would you put yourself through that? Why don't you just go back and get a job? What the hell are you thinking? Why would anybody make themselves that miserable? Because it's their own fears coming at you. But when you sit across from these people and they're like, how's it going? Tell them the small wins. Man, I landed a client. Or we just got the website set up. Man, I just got my business cards in. Share the good shit, because you're living and doing what they wish they had the courage to do. And so they're living vicariously through you. One thought kept me fucking rocking during this moment. And it's a great thought. If I fail and I throw in the fucking towel, I prove their fears right. Because if Donnie can't fucking do it, well, fuck, I can't do it. That's a hell of a fucking motivator, because fuck you. I'm not going to be the reason somebody else doesn't chase their fucking dreams. I hope that helps, bud.
Donnie, this has been absolutely spectacular. I'm going to point out one other thing that you put in the book that I underlined, and you kind of highlighted some of the excuses in a chapter you have so poetically titled "Fuck Your Excuses," and the fourth one is the one. It's just so simple and people don't take the chance to do it. We're doing it here, and it's find somebody who's done it. Whatever you have in you, whatever, it'll be different for every one of you. Some of you want to take your skills that you've been working for the last 20 years and create something that's your own. Some of you want to transition completely out of that and do something completely different. No matter what it is, there are probably people on this very call. And if not, there's people in the network that you're part of, in the Normal 40 network. Just put a post out there. That's what it's there for. Contact me, whatever. But find somebody who's done it before. Somebody will just tell you to help you through the process. I mean, if you found the hour and 20 minutes you just spent with Donnie, a dude who's done it before, and me, who's years behind him, but a dude who's in process of doing it, and John, who's just a few months ahead of me, if there's help there, you can find it for free if you just ask for it. And that's really important. Just ask for it. It's amazing what a cup of coffee will get you in life if you just take the time to ask for it.
And I want to add to that really quick, guys. If you do make the leap and launch your own company, or you're in the throes of building your business, do not make yourself a fucking island. Because that's what I did. I didn't want anybody to know how bad it got. You're very welcome, Ben. Brian, you're very welcome. Don't make yourself a fucking island, especially you fucking guys, because we're dudes. We don't ask for fucking help. Get over your own fucking ego, because everybody who's built a goddamn business knows how hard this shit is, right? Get around the people that when you're going through the shit, don't crawl in misery with you. Like, if you get around people and you're like, dude, business is kicking my ass, and they instantly start going, yeah, dude, my family sucks, life sucks, the economy sucks. Remove those people from your fucking life and get around the people that when you start saying, dude, my business sucks, it's kicking my ass, they're like, cool. What the fuck are you going to do with it now? What's next? What's round two? Let's go. Because those same people, when you start winning, are gonna go, fuck yeah, dude, well done. Those Eeyore motherfuckers, they're gonna be complaining bitch about my life. When you start winning, they're gonna go, but man, let me tell you about what I've won. Let me tell you what I need to do. Why isn't this shit working for me? Because misery loves fucking company. And if they can make your life fucking miserable, their shithole of a fucking journey feels better to them. So get around motherfuckers that will cheer you on when life is fucking fantastic and will kick you square in the ass when you're in your fucking Eeyore state of mind and kicking your own ass.
I love your poetry, dog. I love your poetry. I got to wear these because I got a 10-year-old around the house. So you get to moderate it a little bit. But,
well, is it Cecily? That would be a lot of fucking alcohol, just so you know.
I'm glad we didn't do that today. Otherwise, I would not be driving home.
Too funny.
Oh, funny. Well, Donnie, is there any closing words from your chair?
One thing I would tell you is, if you guys haven't seen or heard about, we have the Badass Business Summit coming up September 22nd through the 24th here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's 3 days, phenomenal speakers. It's all about thanks, Andy. That's all about building and growing your business and yourself. So it's phenomenal networking. This isn't a pitch fest type of event. You're going to the speakers will be sitting in the audience with you because they're learning and growing right alongside of you. It's tremendous networking, a lot of fun, 3 days. Tickets are $197. The hotel is like $125 a night. This is an inexpensive event in September. I think there's like 1 or 2 VIP tickets left, and those are $397. And those get some private sessions with me and some of my team. But it is a killer environment that you will learn a lot. And the whole summit's around the idea of actually working on your business. This isn't where you come and take a shit ton of notes, then get back and go, what the fuck did I just write down? This is where there's sessions built around. We're like, okay, let's pull out your marketing. Now let's build your fucking automations. Let's build your marketing stuff. Let's do it and build it right there in the moment. So you're not dicking around trying to figure out what the fuck somebody said later, right? This is tactical. This is let's get in the game. And a lot of the people last year said it was the best business conference they've ever been to because we pour into you guys. So badassbusinesssummit.com. Just go check it out. Would love to see you guys there. And truthfully, if I can ever be of any help, assistance, if I can do anything for you, make sure we connect on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to get to me. Fucking send me a DM, ask me questions. I really don't mind. The people ask me oftentimes, and when you read the book, hopefully you see it. I give it all away. I teach every fucking thing that I've done. And the reason I do it is because I wish somebody would have done it for me. Right. I mean, because as I was going through the shit, man, all I kept hearing was motherfuckers saying, start a business. It's going to, you can be freedom. You can work whatever fucking hours you want to work. Nobody was saying, dude, this shit's fucking hard. This is a lot of fucking work. And I really wish somebody would have said, hey, Donnie, you got this, dude. Here's a couple of things you should try. Right. Here's a couple of things you can deploy. Not everybody just wanted me to sell me their shit. Right? They wanted to sell me some course or some funnel or some fucking marketing scheme. Right? There'll be, Jim, to answer that question very specifically, they'll be talked about directly, but every tool you can get, excluding Entreport, which is a program we use on the back end of ours, will be tools that are usually free or readily easily available that you'll be able to use. But Entreport's our entire automation system that runs the whole operational back end of our company. And Kevin will be there teaching how to build out your email automation sequence. Kevin's my COO. Who teaches all this stuff, but he'll be teaching like your email marketing sequences and stuff that you can use with any fucking software. So you'll write the emails during his workshop, right? So it's not like, hey, here's your template, go apply. No. You're going to write the emails during the workshop so you actually have them. And if your laptop's there, fucking plug them into your whatever system you use and get them rocking. That's how we designed the whole thing. So this isn't, an Entreport, just if you were to look at it, you really need somebody else outside your company that's good at it. I don't work for Entreport. I don't have any affiliate fees or anything with them. It's an amazing program, but you can do it with, if you're just starting out, you can do it with shit like MailChimp and the like. So you can do it yourself to keep it simple and keep your costs down. Because Entreport's like $350 a month, where like a MailChimp program's like $20 a month or some shit. So hope that answers your question. Freaking find people that are willing to teach your knowledge and just give you everything they got. Anybody that wants to put you in some sort of fucking webinar or some sort of fucking masterclass or anything else, all they give a shit about is trying to sell you their shit. And if you ever jump on a Zoom and you can't do this, where you can interact, DM people, network, and everything else, leave instantly, because it's nothing but a fucking pitch, right? They're going to spend all their time fucking wowing you with their fucking story and how amazing and awesome they are. And you're going to get one nugget that you're like, oh my God, that's a fucking nugget at the end. And then they're going to hit you with some sort of fucking offer, right? Find people that will actually just share their fucking knowledge and story and learn from them.
Awesome. Donnie, man, this has been spectacular, dog.
Thanks, brother.
This has been the best turnout we've had for office hours, and it's obvious why. We actually didn't lose one person when we asked them to leave and come back.
That's awesome.
Which is a testament to you, boss. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I will, the question was asked, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I will put the video out there so that you can listen to this later. And I will also put a link to the Badass Business Summit on there. And do friend Donnie, do follow him on LinkedIn. He posts about this stuff. He puts nuggets out almost daily. And so be sure you're following this cat. He's a dude to know. And Donnie, thanks for your friendship, man.
Oh, awesome,
appreciate
bro.
it, boss.
Thanks for
inviting me. I'm going to come visit
in.
your farm someday.
And
this is your invite to mine.
Brilliant. And I will tell you guys, the coolest thing you can do for Lon so he can continue to bring in speakers like me and just other cool people that are doing awesome stuff, is share this group out with other people that are trying to figure this journey, this path, this moment out. Because, having my podcast, I can tell you the toughest thing in the world is growing your audience and getting people to know you're doing this. So invite one person in here, because it's literally like walking up to Lon and giving him a fucking virtual hug. By telling one other person about this group and the shit and the things he's trying to do, it'll mean the fucking world to him. So be his army out front, helping him bring the right fucking people in here. And guess what? Every time you do that, it grows your network.
Well said.
And it grows everybody else's network.
All right. We're down to our last 10 seconds before this freebie winds up again. Good timing. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.